Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here today as we count down to tomorrow night's big Monday Night Raw. I'm trying to honestly think of what the day is going to be, but I honestly don't know the day of the month it's going to be. But lucky enough, today is Sunday, tomorrow is Monday, and we're gearing up and we're getting ready to have one really big match to kick off Monday Night Raw. It is the number one thing that WWE is pushing for Monday Night Raw, and of course that is the I guess you could say debut of whether if you want to call them the Bullet Club, the Balor Club, Guns and Gallows. Actually on WWE.com in the Monday Night Raw preview, they have the other way around. I don't know if it's because they're scared that New Japan has some sort of listing as their name a certain way, but they have it as Gallows and Gunn. Or maybe it's Gallows and Anderson. I know the Gallows name was first on there, so it is what it is. But as everybody knows, I've been really looking forward to these guys coming into WWE for a long time. I think that it is more than just them coming by themselves. I think that there is going to be some sort of a big angle behind them. We all saw Finn Balor lose the NXT Championship this week to a match in Lowell, I think it's Massachusetts, but I'm not sure, to Samoa Joe. Since there, Balor has still been wrestling on house shows. He was a part of a tag team match, which was Balor and Nakamura going up against Samoa Joe and the Drifter. I don't know why Joe would pick the Drifter as his tag partner and how the Drifter became a main eventer, but it is what it is. Some people are thinking that Finn Balor is going to be debuting on Monday Night Raw this week. Honestly, in my mind, I would be holding out for either the actual Payback show itself coming out during the AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns match, or even waiting until the Raw after. Sort of like once there is mass confusion with Guns and Gallows breaking up the match, which I think they will be a part of once that comes in, and then you actually build into a whole lot of things that we'll talk about later with the Triple H Authority rumor about the Authority making their return to Raw, going face to face with Shane McMahon about who's going to be running Monday Night Raw. But on Raw, we're going to be seeing Guns and Gallows going up against the Usos. This is the match that, of course, was kicked off by their debut in LA at the Staples Center when they jumped the rail, came in and attacked the Usos after their win in the first round of the tournament. I can't remember who they beat. And then the questions started. Was Guns and Gallows being a team that was just going to be focused on being the top tag team in the WWE, or was there more to them debuting? And it ends up the next week they would focus in on joining up with AJ, attacking Roman Reigns. So you can see that this is the start of something bigger than actually just the tag team division, but actual fun to see them actually wrestling the tag team match. It'll be fun to see what their actual attire is going to be, if Luke Gallows is going to paint his face, much like he did when they wrestled for New Japan on the big shows over there, or if he's just going to be Doc Gallows and it's going to be Machine Gun Carl Anderson. We've seen them drop a few things. We haven't seen them clang the guns since their debut, but we have seen them bat their fists against each other. That's pretty cool. But maybe Triple H said, hey, try the gun thing, see if it works, and maybe Dunn or Vince McMahon said, hey, we can't be having none of that during this PG era of whatever it's going to be. This could go either way. Little part of me wonders about, will Guns and Gallows get the win? Of course, I think they have to get the win, but WWE bringing people in from other places, whether if it's AJ Styles, whether if it's who's somebody else who's debuted from somebody else. There's been letdowns with people coming in for their big debut. Brock Lesnar coming back from UFC, losing to John Cena at Extreme Rules after WrestleMania 28. But I think they're going to win. I think they'll beat the Usos, and I think they'll beat them handily. So you have to take notice of this team as a heel team that's a part of a heel faction, and take notice that these guys are here with a bigger notice other than just taking over the WWE Tag Team Gold and going from then. They're going to be bigger than the Shield. They're going to be bigger than anything that we've seen in a long time. This is going to be a fucking awesome match. Guns and Gallows is a great team. Usos always bring a lot of fun to tag team matches. So I'm really, really looking forward to this to be the kickoff of Monday Night Raw. As we move on, talking about Monday Night Raw for 4/25/16 on the way to Payback. Again, they're treating it like they don't know if Shane McMahon is going to be running Monday Night Raw, which honestly, in my mind, doesn't really make a lot of sense. They either need to make this where Shane is running Raw, or Shane is not running Raw. Put some sort of a stipulation match. Yeah, he didn't win at WrestleMania, but even have a match at Raw, just to see if he's going to be in charge of Raw next week. Almost like when Eric Bischoff was running Raw And Vince McMahon put the sort of statement out there, you need to make sure that the championship is off of John Cena. If John Cena doesn't lose by this date, you lose your job. Set some sort of goal for Monday Night Raw to break each and every week to sort of push forward, because this whole deal of waiting until Sunday night to put up an article on WWE.com basically saying maybe Raw will have Shane McMahon there. I don't really see anybody tweeting out things like, I hope Shane is running Raw, because I think most wrestling fans are hip to the fact that they know that Shane is going to be on Raw, more than likely until there's some sort of a match between him and Triple H, which there is a rumor that the Authority will be making their return to Monday Night Raw. Honestly, in my mind, I would hold off until Payback, or even the Raw after Payback, like I talked about with the whole Finn Balor, Guns and Gallows deal. Make it where Guns and Gallows interfere during the AJ match, maybe even make Finn Balor debut during the AJ match, and just make the match a total clusterfuck where there is no finish. The guys lay out both guys. They don't like either guy because they want their guy, Finn Balor, to be the #1 guy. And that's when Triple H slides in on Shane McMahon, basically saying that he shouldn't be running Monday Night Raw because Shane doesn't know what he's doing. He's not able to, have good finishes on good pay-per-views. He's not able to give good fans their money's worth. And all the fans will be like, oh, but we love the match. We love Guns and Gallows. We love this. We love that. But Triple H is just trying to get his job back, basically, trying to be back in charge. And then at Extreme Rules, you have your main event, Shane McMahon versus Triple H, which the fans will eat up and go for like crazy. That'll be an awesome match that everyone will want to see. It'll be a lot like the Triple H versus Vince match from Armageddon back in the day. Definitely not like the Vince versus Stephanie match from, I think, Vengeance back in the day. Good God, don't want to really remember that match from back in SmackDown's history. But from there we go to Ambrose versus Jericho, which is a feud that honestly in my mind doesn't really have a whole lot going for it. I don't know if it's just because I don't really care for Jericho that much right now, or what it is. It just doesn't seem like it's going to have a whole lot behind it. It's not going to emphasize Dean Ambrose as being one of the main guys. I am really liking the Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens feud, which is going on, which I think is really hot, and I think they really put up a really good video about their lifetime of being friends and feuding on WWE.com today. I thought that was a really good video. Corbin versus Ziggler is a feud. They were, basically, I think Corbin beat Ziggler last week on Raw. Then they had a rematch on SmackDown where Corbin attacked Ziggler before it. Right now you got a whole lot of NXT guys coming in, and you really want these NXT guys looking good. And Baron Corbin is really a big monster that I think you can heat up and get behind. Whether if you're rooting for Baron Corbin, whether if you're rooting for a guy like Apollo Crews, these guys got to get wins and they got to be reputable. I can see Corbin beating him. I can see Corbin beating Ziggler on a pay-per-view. And then hopefully we can build up and see where this guy goes from here. I can easily see Baron Corbin slipping through the cracks and becoming another guy, much like the Ascension, where they just really didn't go anywhere, even though they had a really good tenure when they were in NXT during the time. And then we go to the next NXT feud, which has been moved up to the main roster due to both of these teams moving through the WWE Tag Team Championship Tournament. Enzo and Kaz going up against the Vaudevillains. This really, in my mind, shows how weak the tag team division is and how weak the tag team division has been for a long time. Definitely two teams coming up out of the minors. Both teams should not have reached the finals. Either not debuted both teams right off the bat, where both teams would be in the tournament, or have one team lose during the deal. Honestly, in my mind, Enzo and Kaz need to be the team that win it. They were never able to win the big one in NXT. Them coming in and becoming tag team champions in WWE, honestly, in my mind, would make them one of the most over teams on the roster. When they were over in the UK on Raw, on SmackDown, when they debuted, definitely these guys got some of the biggest pops that we've seen in a long time. A lot of people care about these people, and they sort of go away from the deal of people saying that people don't really care about NXT guys once they made the main roster because of the fact that not everyone watches NXT. One way or another, if you're a wrestling fan who watches WWE, who's hip to the product, you know who Enzo is, you know who Kaz is, and these are two guys that are really easy to get behind. I want to see an Enzo Kaz tag team run. I want to see them beat the Vaudevillains at Payback and become the #1 contenders, where they would have a match against the New Day and win the championship there. So, I don't know. There's 5-6 things for Monday Night Raw. I'm really hip to seeing Guns and Gallows wrestle in their debut match. Besides that, honestly, in my mind, I don't think that we're going to see the Authority. At least we shouldn't see the Authority. I don't think that we're going to see Finn Balor. So I'm not thinking this is going to be one of the biggest Monday Night Raws of all time.